welcome to Team EDA's educational series. This is an update webinar. My name is Guy Haas. I'm the president of the company. Why don't we go ahead and get started? What I'm going to do is try something different. In the past, what I've done is I've tried to do the webinar presentation, and then I jump from there over to the actual product and show you, each of the things that are new. But what I'm going to do is just try to jump from here to here to here. So makes it go a lot faster. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So let's just start right from the top. So one of the new features is improved history graph dynamic display. What does that mean? Well, it's the history graph. We've got this history graph here, which is kind of new. You'll see the interactivity of this is different than what you're used to. In the past, up to 9.1, we used a Google Graph application, and that turned out that some customers couldn't use Google Graphs, so we went to a new proprietary. This is built in, so you don't need to be connected to the internet to get usage graphs or history graphs. So that's what this is here, and you'll notice it's dynamic, so you can poke around and see what the values are at any point in the graph. This, of course, is your capacity up here, and down here is your averages line here. It does have the two pie charts. They're not three-dimensional, but they're still color-coded, as you're used to. And you'll notice that there's a couple of buttons at the bottom here for each of these graphs. The download image, that just creates a JPEG of the graph, and then you can save it and paste it or copy it, whatever you want to do with it, print it. Also, you have a button for create batch reports. So if you really wanted this weekly or monthly or quarterly, all you do is create batch report from here. So it's a little bit easier interface, we think, and you don't need to be on the internet to get the graphs. So that's the main purpose of changing that graph technology behind here. Next thing is zero use features at checkout overview table. So if you go to the current overview, in the past, you may remember all you saw here was the currently checked out features. If something was not checked out, it didn't show up here. So in 9.2, we added this little button here, zero usage display. So now it's going to show everything that's checked out plus everything that's not checked out. And again, you can, like any of our tables, you can filter through the filter box. You can sort by hitting on the column heading. I think people have been asking for that. They want to see what's not being used in the current overview table. And you can see all these zeros, and everything else is the same. You can get to the details here. If you clicked on the details on any of these things that aren't checked out, you just won't get any detail because there's no checkouts for that. So that's new, the zero use for the overview. That is not true for the gas gauges, though. Inventory detail by vendor report. So that's back over here under the licenses side, where if you want to get a report of inventory, some of you may be using that side of the product and some may not, but it used to be that you didn't see inventory by vendor, but here now you can see everything that you own from a specific vendor. So if I clicked on vendor and pick a vendor, like let's say Cadence, and submit, you're going to get a report that shows everything that you own from Cadence, inventory by vendor. Let me go back to inventory detail by vendor. Notifications of licenses available. This is new. So if an engineer goes to get a license and there's none available, he can actually create an alert that will notify him that a license is available. And he can do that from the 8181 port or the 8182 port. I'm in the 8181 now, but they're under the, where was that? Under the alerts tab, to get over here to it. Under the Alerts tab, there's a feature called Available License Alert. If you click on that, it lets you pick. I've got to go farther over here. Sorry about that. you pick the feature that you're interested in. So maybe it's MATLAB, and these are all alerts that will be sent to the person that you puts their name in here. This could be any engineer has access to this screen, and all I put in here is their name, you know, Joe at whatever.com, and when it reaches a license becomes available. Right now the capacity is 20 of this, but when one becomes available, it's going to send an alert to Joe. All I do is submit that, and Joe will get an alert when the license becomes available. Then he can go check it out, do what he wants. Now, this is going to continue to send him an alert, so he needs to come back to this page. And again, all the engineers have access to the available licenses tab here, this feature here. They can come back in here and just delete that alert. I got my license. I don't need this alert anymore. I can't get to that, but if I go to delete, it'll take it out. Let's see, notification license available, new alert, favorites tab. Now that's this tab right here. There's a tab that's called favorites, and it's like saving a favorite in your browser, except you can save it in, again, 8181 or 8182 is going to have this view. Just to prove it here, I'm going to open up an 8182 view. So now you can see 8182 has the favorites tab. 8182, though, on the alerts only has that available license alert. But the favorite, these are all the favorites. You can save a favorite in here if you like it, so you can have a bunch of favorites saved. Denials. Now we added denial detail export to Excel, and that's under the denials tab. I think it's in the overview, denials overview. Details. I think if you go to the details tab, download detailed denials to Excel. So you can get all the details underneath here just downloaded in one big Excel file. So some of you that are tracking denials and they want to see all the details in one report, as you recall, you drill in to the month and the week and the day, and you can see the details. But if you export the entire detail to Excel, you'll see everything in one report. That's the denial detail export to Excel. Denials by tag, all features report. Denials by tag, and all you do is click on that, pick the tag that you want to look at, and the time period that you want, and it'll generate. In this case, we only have one feature, but you can actually select multiple features. If I click the NX tag, there's multiple features in that, I believe. Yeah, so you can click whatever features you want to, denials on any of the features that you want here. You can click them and then have that exported to Excel for all the details on those features at that tag. It's actually all or selected features. We have a new denials history graph. Essentially, that's under the detail. You'll see there's a denials graph here, denial history graph for any of these tools. And it's kind of pretty. And you can do this for any, again, it's a graph, so you have that dynamic ability of reading the graph. You can download this as a JPEG image. You can create a batch report if you like this. So that's called denial history graph. We now support Sentinel HASP. So Sentinel has two license types that we know of. Best way to show you that is just to go to the add new line item, and under license types over here, it used to be we had the Sentinel RMS, but now we have the Sentinel HASP, which is a different kind of, I think ZMax uses Sentinel HASP. So that's new in 9.2, as well as Atlassian is a new license type that we support. And there are app notes up on our website for both of those. If you want to set up a Sentinel HASP for monitoring, it's a parser, so it's a log file that we parse and get the usage data from. Same with Atlassian, it's a parser. And if you go to the Parsers tab now, let me go to cancel out of that and go to the usage tab and go to the parsers. You'll see now there's a HASP parser and there's an Atlassian parser set up in there now. I don't know if any of you have a need for those, but those monitoring managers are in there now. Let's see the next one, batch all feature usage tables by tag. So let me show you what that is here. So if you go to batch, you have two options here to generate batch reports for all features at a tag. One is a set of tables and one is a set of graphs. We actually had feature usage by tag graphs, so we added the table. And what's the difference? This is all the gory detail, all the user information related to all those features at that tag for any time period that you choose. But it's a batch report because it takes a while to generate this in the middle of the night, and then you'll have it Monday morning or first day of the month, whatever day you set it up for. And this same way, except it's just a usage graph by feature for every feature at a given tag. So what's new though in 9.2 is actually the table one. That just gives you all the detail. So that's what that is here. We got more. Tableau support. I don't know if some customers have asked for Tableau support. So we've added a JSON output, and that's under user activity export. So if you go to the batch tab and you go to user activity export, that's where you're going to find this because it's by tool. This is going to be all the detail for whatever time period. So if I pick 90 days and whatever tool I pick on here, NX, it's going to give me all the detail for that tool usage in the last 90 days. And of course, you can always export that to Excel, but now you can export it to JSON, which is allows you to see that all that data in Tableau. I honestly don't know much about Tableau, but that's the interface to Tableau. Now we can also interface to Splunk or Cognos through the what's it say here? Through the Excel interface, or as a .csv. I guess you can dump out to Splunk or Cognos through that if you want it. But JSON allows you to dump out to Tableau. So that's new. It's available there if you want it. Averages report, as you may remember, you probably have used, I would assume you've all used the averages report. But in the past, when you select averages, whether it's the averages by tag over here, or whether it's the averages, comprehensive averages up here, either way, it would automatically default to 7 days. And we had a lot of customers telling us, don't do that, because it does take a while to generate, even for just 7 days. So we took out the default of 7 days, and you can plug in whatever number you want. So you can see it for 90 days or 7 days or whatever, just pick it, and then it'll go ahead and generate, the report for you. This is, by the way, if you haven't used the averages report, there's a lot of information in here. Again, I just did it by tag. So this is the NX at the NX Demo 2 tag, and we only used 2 features in the last 7 days, and it shows me the features that were used, how many we own. This is the total usage time of that usage time for that feature in the last 7 days. So if you ever needed to know that, this is a good number to have. This is the average checkout time. This is useful. So if you want to know what's the average checkout time for this tool, 1 hour, 1 minute, 28 seconds. What's the average number of users? 7.3. How many times in the last 7 days did we hit max? So in one place here, you've got a lot of data. I say the averages report's a great weekly or monthly batch report. And you can do it for all days, or you can do it for just weekdays. There's two ways of generating that averages report. But it's a very, very good report if you haven't used it before. But the main point here is that we eliminated the default, and you have to select the time, the period that you want here. The next one is combine feature graph. Select up to 5 tags, and let me explain what that is. We used to have, it was set to, that's under the history tab. So if you want to see combined feature graph, it used to be that you could only select up to 3 servers. Now you can select up to 5. It just so happens in this demo here, I have 3 MATLAB servers, and I can click them all or just click those 2, whatever combination I want, and have that plotted together. But what's different in 9.2 is that you can have up to 5 of these tags put in here together. Now, why didn't we open it up to more? Because it's going to get so muddy. The data is going to be so convoluted. You're not going to make much sense out of it. You know, even with 3, it gets kind of muddy. But now you can select up to 5 tags and see that data all plotted together in the same graph. The current overview pagination option, let me explain what that is here. So if you go to the current overview, it used to be you pretty much just got the one page, but we've added, you know, you can go up to 150 lines now if you want on the overview page, which it's going to be so much data, you're going to have to filter it anyway. Just filter it to get, you all know that you can just filter that, right? So if I only want to see the MATLAB stuff, but the bottom line is that in the overview page, you can see as much as you want. And as I mentioned, you can click 0 usage if you want to see what's not being used. You can see that as well. The only problem with that is it changes. This changes every 10 or 15 minutes, whatever your LMStat cron interval is. Whoops. It's going to change every 10 or 15 minutes. So we were talking about pagination. You've got pagination now on the current overview. We have a new report called Users Not in Any Group. We have a number of customers that are using the group feature. Where is my other view? This one. So you may or may not be creating groups and seeing usage by groups, but we do have a new feature where you download this, click this button, download. It'll give you a list of any user that's not assigned to a group. So it goes through and it looks at who's in all your groups here, and if there's people not in those groups that are in your user groups, again, that's this list over here. You're going to have a bunch of people in your our database that they're not in any group. It'll show up in this report here. So that's the users not in any group report.
Yes, sir.
All right, next one, batch reports enhancements. So editable frequencies. So if we come over here to our batch reports and a report setup, you'll notice under group setup now, there's a few things that are different. Is that you can edit this, you can edit the delivery type, you can edit the frequency now, and you can also add the person who created the report, and it can be an email address or it can be, you know, initials, whatever you want, for the person that added the report. We had some customers that wanted to know who created that batch report, so we've added this new field here. So I hit frequency is editable. There's a few other fields now that are editable, as I mentioned here. Multiple email addresses, that's new. So if you wanted to, when you're creating a report for email, you can have multiple emails in this path. In the past, you can only have one email. And if you wanted to send it to a group of people, you have to create an alias for that group and just put in that group alias email address in here. But now if you really want to specify 2 or 3 or 4 email addresses in this box, you can. And I assume they're separated by a semicolon as is normal. And then, come on, and then the creator field, that's what I showed you before. The person that created the report can be in there. That's this creator field added. The last thing over here that I want to talk about is changing IP addresses. From time to time, we have customers that want to move the LAMUM server to some new server, which is fine. You know, you can do that. You do need to sign a rehosting agreement. We send you a new license key, and everything's just hunky-dory, except for the fact that it can undo your user dashboard or your favorites. If you save reports in your in your browser as a favorite, that is a specific IP address. And then if you change your IP address for your LAMUM server, well, you're not going to get that report anymore. So that's one consideration. But I wanted to just see if I can get to this link right here. There's a document up on our website. Let's hope it shows up here. Oh, it's here. Okay, so there's a document up on our website right now that I encourage you to look at if you're thinking of changing the LAMUM server IP address. And that's what this document talks about. It's the effects of changing that, what won't work, what will work. And I would encourage you to read this because there's batch reports, favorite reports, and user dashboards won't work until you go back and update the IP address. And you can do a find and replace to do that easily. But there are other aspects in our system that require the IP address, and there's a script now available. If you want to change IP, best way is to just contact us. This actually gives you the information about that script, and it's built into your system. You can execute the script yourself, but it's going to go into LAMUM and do the same thing, find and replace all of the IP addresses that are relevant when you change an IP address. So it's more than just changing out the license key. The license key obviously is tied to a specific IP address. So this whole document here, I just want to call it to your attention that if you are going to change servers and change IP addresses, you probably want to look at this document before you do that, and we'll help you as best we can. So so that pretty much takes us to the end of this. As far as bug fixes go in 9.2, good news is we didn't have a lot of bugs, but there's a few. Days to expiration in the real-time report. 9.2 fixes the RLM and LMX expiration dates, which were wrong, particularly if your licenses were 2036 dates. It showed the licenses expired, so that's been fixed. The denial dates, let's see, showing the denial graph was showing a month ahead due to JavaScript error. That has been fixed. So if you were trying to use a denial graph, which I don't think we had until like 9.0 or 9.1 anyway. I don't know if you've done denial graphs, but if the dates weren't right, that's fixed now in 9.2. We had a bug in MathLM. Monitor LM utility for MathLM format was changed for Linux and Windows. That's been upgraded. That's the problem. Sometimes the vendor MathLM, they change things, and we have to revise our linkage so that it's compatible. So we had to do that with MathLM, which is Mathematica. If you're not using Mathematica, you don't need that. LMX. There was some problem in the user reports for LMX Altair and LMX Other that were fixed due to changes in the LMX license manager. We found a bug in the remove function. If you've upgraded to 9.1, in the user details table, there is the remove button. I don't know if you've attempted to use that, but we found the bug. And it wasn't working properly, or wasn't working at all. So we fixed the LM remove command. that's underneath the remove button. And now it uses the license file path method, whatever that is. I mean, if you have any questions about what we fixed there, just write support@teameda.com. And in the backup area, we've had a problem, I think it's been since 9.0, where the backups were not occurring properly because an error in one of the tables, I don't remember what the table was, but if that got corrupted, then the backup wasn't full. It was just a real partial backup. We discovered that, and the backup error is now fixed. If you do, what I would suggest that you do, all of you, is check the size of your backups. You know, go to the backup folder, whatever that is for you. I think the standard default is C:\backup or something like that. And look at the size of the backups. If you find that they're only a couple of 100K, then the backup's not working. Your backup, it all depends on the number of daemons that you're monitoring and the frequency, and the number of users and all that will make a difference in the size of your backup folder. But it's going to be multiple megabytes or potentially 1 or 2 or 3 gigabytes. That's the normal backup size. So if you find that it's less than that or showing only a couple of 100K, then you want to contact us. Contact support@teameda.com, and we can fix that bug. 9.2 eliminates that problem going forward, but it's not going to fix the backups that you already have. On the subject of backups, you may have to go in every now and then and clean out some of the old backups. See, every time we do a backup, it gives it a new date, so it's a different file. And over time, I mean, some of you have been using our product for 8, 9 years, and your backup folder is going to be huge, which you could run out of disk space. I don't know. You don't need backups that old anyway. So what you might want to do in there periodically, maybe once a year, is go in there and clean out a bunch of the old backups that you don't need. Yeah. So if your the latest backup file is only a few K, give us a call or email support@teameda.com and let's fix that, because otherwise you're vulnerable. You don't have a backup. If God forbid, if something should happen, you're not going to have a full backup. We upgraded some of the third-party components. The PHP was upgraded to 7.2.25. The Apache was upgraded to 2.4.39, and JDK was upgraded to 11 for what it's worth. Those are the most current. And that's pretty much the end of the update webinar. That's pretty quick. I like the fact that we had everything going here simultaneously in parallel. It sped the whole process up. Problems or questions at all, you can always call us or write support@teameda.com. We are here to help you if you need anything. Good news is, I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but we don't really hear a lot from you, except around the renewal time. And thank you. You all pretty much renew every year. We appreciate that. We are doing things. This is just an example of the stuff that we're doing to enhance the product. Thank you much for attending, and if you need anything, just call or just email us. Okay? Everybody have a great rest of the day, and wash your hands. Wash your hands.